In 2007, he came out with a reality show called Gotti's Way. And Gotti's Way was only 2 seasons, but those 2 seasons showed me an intimate view on what it looked like to decouple, what it looked like to attempt to co-parent, the differences between what a mother felt that the family needed and what she needed as an individual, and what the father thought he needed to do to be a provider and to keep his family together.
I want to be with Irv, but then a part of me is like, you know what? I think I've outgrown you.
The women that you're with, you refer to them as scallywags.
Is a Surviving Irv Gotti documentary finally dropping? Because his ex-wife is about to drop bombshells that will make your jaw hit the floor. She's coming for him, exposing the real reasons why his family went up in flames. And it's all because of his obsessive, borderline delusional fixation with Ashanti. And honestly, have you heard Irv Gotti go on and on in interviews about his so-called romance with Ashanti? The guy couldn't stop talking about her by acting like he was entitled to her attention. But the second Ashanti gave him the cold shoulder and turned down any kind of collaboration, that's when he flipped hard. Talk about a bruised ego. Now Deb, his ex-wife, is laying it all out. She says Irv's obsession with Ashanti didn't just wreck their business relationship, it destroyed their home life. And make no mistake, he made her pay dearly for daring to stand by him while he was out there chasing a ghost. It wasn't just drama, it was a war. Let's dig into this, because the truth, it's even messier than you think.
There's no boundaries. Like, he comes, we're there, we're available. He's living 2 lives, and for me, it doesn't make sense.
You have found that woman. It might not have lasted, but you have
She's
found...
definitely a special one, but she wasn't special enough for me to stop.
Irv Gotti and Deb Lorenzo's divorce in 2013 after a decade together? Shocking, right? But honestly, people have been questioning why Deb stayed with a man who treated her like absolute trash for so long. And it's not just the whispers. Irv straight up disrespected her in front of their kids, mocked her education, and even had the audacity to put down their daughter, saying she should be doing better than Deb. But here's the thing, Deb says it didn't start out like that. When they got married in 2003, she expected the grind. Him traveling, signing deals, making bank, while she held down the fort at home with the kids. What she didn't expect was the endless parade of women Irv was out here juggling. And the real kicker, he didn't even see a problem with it. In fact, he honestly believed that Deb was out of her mind for thinking she could be the only woman to satisfy him. He was living in a different reality, and Deb was left holding the bag of betrayal and broken promises. Let's just say the mess was way deeper than anyone realized.
Still married, but we were separated when they were dating. I was used to it from the beginning, like him going and traveling. I just wasn't used to the women. That was like new, like, where did these hoes come from?
You know, I
You
think...
wanted people to forgive you when you do stuff?
Don't talk about the cheat. I'm a good chip off the old block, aside from the infidelities. You know, in my crazy mind, I thought that was life. This is my wife, this is my family, but this is here to suck my
Their relationship was a hot mess, a textbook definition of dysfunction, and we all got a front row seat to that chaos when their reality show Gotti's Way aired in 2007. But here's the kicker. Despite all of it, Deb stuck around, holding on to some faint hope that Irv would change. She tried to divorce him when she found out about the cheating, but the reality of their kids, especially their eldest, Sonny, who didn't want their parents to split, kept her from following through. Irv was a good father, there's no denying that. He adopted Deb's daughter and treated her like his own, never letting her feel the difference. In fact, she never even knew that Irv wasn't her biological father until she heard it from someone outside the house. But despite all that, Irv's actions were still messed up. He was always on the road, but when he came home, he made sure to show up for the kids. Weekends, school events, all that dad stuff. But here's the kicker. He was only there for the kids. Deb was left holding on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, things would change, that he'd come back and finally be the man she needed. And every weekend, she'd believe it again. Now, let's talk about those women. Oh yeah, they came and went like clockwork, but none seemed to stick, at least not until Ashanti stepped into the picture. Ashanti became the undisputed queen of Murder Inc., her hits dominating the charts, while Irv couldn't stop talking about the money they were making, the moves they were making, all while Deb stayed home with the kids. But the real shift came when Irv started treating his role as a father more like an occasional gig, showing up just enough to keep up appearances and give Deb that false sense of hope that maybe their marriage wasn't doomed named after all. And then came the whispers. Ashanti and Irv were doing more than just making hits together. When Irv went on the Wendy Williams show, he didn't hesitate to shut down any accusations of Ashanti being a homewrecker. But what he did say, that he and Ashanti were in love, and that their romance didn't begin until he and Deb were already separated.
Why is it that if a man gets married, a man and woman get married, if they're separated, they're not gonna be together. They're not staying together. I can't go mess with other girls until I sign a divorce paper? Why? Why?
No, yes, you can.
Okay, then what's the problem?
Deb and Irv's relationship only took a real nosedive when Irv and Ashanti got too close for comfort. What started as business turned into something personal, and Deb could feel the shift. Irv's obsession with Ashanti crossed a line, and that's when everything started falling apart.
She used to wear these juicy sweats, and her ass was looking fat. Her ass was looking great. So one day, I was like, yo, I'll take you home. She said, bet, cool. I walk her to the front door of her crib. She turns to say goodbye. And I just kiss her and grab her ass. And just, mwah.
It got so much worse when Ashanti dumped Irv and moved on with Nelly. That was a blow Irv could never recover from, and it was clear he couldn't handle the rejection. Since Ashanti refused to give him the time of day, Irv allegedly started taking his frustrations out on Deb, the woman who'd stuck by his side for years. But here's the kicker. He didn't even try to hide it. He got brutally disrespectful towards her, even when their kids were right there, watching everything fall apart. It was like Deb was his emotional dumping ground, and she had to just take it, day after day. And what made it worse? Deb and the kids were fully dependent on Irv. She didn't have a real job, didn't have the means to just pack up and leave, and Irv knew exactly how to exploit that. He controlled everything and used it to break her down even further. The power dynamic was clear. Irv had all the leverage, and he milked it for all it was worth.
The fear and like, can I survive on my own? I feel stuck a little bit, and I've been like this for a while. I stayed this long because I was afraid. You know, when we first separated, I really thought, Irv would come back home. I thought we would work things out. And then as time goes on, you see it's not gonna work.
Before Irv confirmed he and Ashanti were more than just collaborators, everyone assumed she was messing with either Ja Rule or C. Santana. But when Irv finally admitted, lived to millions, that he was the one in love with Ashanti, it was like he exploded the whole situation wide open, leaving no room for doubt or denials.
Made those records. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wrote them, but she wrote them with the help of me telling her what to write. And all of y'all, whoever knows me, I don't lie. I don't lie. I'm not a liar. I'm gonna spritz it up and jazz it up. Is this the camera?
Yes.
Ashanti, you cannot spritz it up. You cannot jazz it up. The minute you put some spritzy and jazz it up, it's not a cover. So when it's not a cover, now it has to come back to me to clear it.
Irv's audacity hit new levels when he started bragging about all the women he'd been messing with in Hollywood, even going so far as to claim he was the one who coined the name Superhead for Stefan. It was like he owned the right to cheat with anyone he wanted, as if it was just a part of the game. But here's the thing, Deb didn't sign up for that mess, and it went from being a dirty secret to a full-blown public spectacle. At first, it was something Deb could tolerate. Only a few people knew about his cheating, but when Irv started blasting it to the world, non-stop, making sure everyone knew exactly what he was doing, even in front of their kids, Deb realized something. Their marriage was done. So she packed her bags, walked out, and never looked back. It was the best decision she ever made, because Irv, he never stopped. Even at 48, he was still out there talking about how he wanted a freaky ride or die who'd have his kids and let him run wild, unbothered by consequences. And here's the kicker. He was still obsessed with Ashanti right up until the day he died. That obsession never faded. Now, as Deb drops these bombshells, the public's got plenty to say about the reality of what really went down behind closed doors. And trust, they're talking. Someone wrote, Irv Gotti beat the feds in $1 million money laundering trial, but instead of telling that story, he chooses to talk about the time that he slept with Ashanti 20 years ago. Another person wrote, and they say women act on emotion. An emotional man will do 32 interviews on a woman who ain't typed a sentence about him, but what I want to know right now is how y'all feel about all of this. Sound off in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And before you dip, make sure you like this video and hit that subscribe button. And let's keep the conversation respectful and full of love. Voila! Until next time!